Oh man, I can already tell this is going to be such a different episode. Fuck, dude. We got lots of rain here in Worcester. It's very quiet outside of the motorcycles passing by, and I have no co-host. It's going to be real quiet. It's going to be real chill. But let's get this thing rolling, you guys. Let's go. Even without co-host, everything goes horribly wrong. What's up, you guys? My name is Brian Paul from the channel right here without Parole. This is PSVR GAMESCAST Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 Eyes Friday right here on YouTube. We do it live 6 p.m. Eastern for your viewing pleasure. But we care so much about those audio listeners out there. That's why I put this thing up on podcast services of your choice. I think I've got a sore throat coming on, or my voice is just a little bit strained. I've been getting really good sleep lately, and haven't been drinking enough water. Too much coffee, not good sleep, and yeah, so I think it's all contributing to just a lot of brain fog. There's a lot of overarching tiredness, and then you can hear it in the sound of my voice. So I'm not going to be jumping up and down screaming very much tonight. With any luck, I won't be singing anything either. You'll know things have gone horribly wrong if I start singing. Although I will say, if anybody saw Wednesday's episode, I'm already ready to start singing. At the end of Wednesday's episode, you really got to check out the end when Wes Dillon from our sister channel, Virtual Strangers, made a All in the Family reference, and he did an awesome impression of Edith Bunker, like a shockingly good impression of Edith Bunker. And I was driving to the gym that night, and I just had the theme song to All in the Family stuck in my head for, the whole night, right? Like driving down the streets very sure hearing was just being like, boy, the way Glenn Miller played, with the windows down, screaming it out the window. I'm not right. I think we all knew that. No co-host tonight. You guys, that's why I put you guys up here, because you guys are my co-host. You're in the co-host slot. I just didn't want to reformat everything, let's be honest. So here we are. What is happening? I'm gonna be pulling in as much as I possibly can from the chat. You guys, like I said, you guys are my co-hosts. So if you got anything interesting you want to talk about, Prozac in the chat. And you knew when you walked in, girls were girls and men were men. See, they were complaining about the same exact shit fucking 70 years ago. It's not 70 years ago. It was before I was born, though. So 60 years ago. Oh, man. Myles is traveling. I don't know if he's talked about that publicly. I don't know what he has said on his own show or on his own channel. So I'm not going to get into depth about that. But hopefully he's having a good time and getting to put his feet up and relaxing. But don't you worry. Just because he's not here doesn't mean things aren't good. Things seem to be pretty good everywhere. Dude, yes, Welcome Back Kotter. In high school, we got into Welcome Back Kotter. It was very, very strange. I don't know, maybe because we were the right age, right? We were the same age as like Vinny Barbarino and everybody were supposed to be. But like my group of friends in high school got really, really into Welcome Back Kotter. Yeah. Good stuff. Classic shows. All in the Family, Welcome Back Kotter. Dude, Taxi. I think Taxi is fucking great. Taxi is like Cheers before Cheers, right? Just absolute classic television watching. Metal Game Cat Solid Fritz says, why not invite Jeremy? Dude, you guys know I love Jeremy. Jeremy's one of the greatest people I know, and trying to organize anything with him is insane. He's got all sorts of stuff going on. Obviously he's got 2 kids and relationships, and he works really hard at his job, and he doesn't play VR anymore. So it's kind of just like not a thing. Like he and I will text each other and just be like, "Hey, how you been? Everything good?" And get caught up very briefly over a few texts. But yeah, I don't really see him showing up for like a live stream or anything anytime soon. So, the Jeffersons. Yeah, I forgot about the Jeffersons. That's a good one, old Darth. Yeah, I will tell you just before the show started, I was like, I forgot that the Luminous Arise demo was on the PlayStation Store. We're going to talk about anything you guys want today. We can talk about flat screen games or VR games or whatever, the normal stuff. But we can just talk about anything. We can get personal if you want to. I don't care. But this is my. Whoops, that's not right. We'll talk about that too in just a second. Here we go. This is my playthrough of the Luminous demo. I don't know. Like I was super excited. I was super excited to play the Luminous demo because Luminous is kind of like a special game to me. I played the crap out of it on PSP, the first one, like on launch day. Like I got a launch PSP, which was crazy because I was living in Tennessee and I was broke and like just really did not have the money to be buying a new console or portable anything on day one. Does anybody remember how much it launched for? I must have sold some stuff, man. I must have sold some stuff in order to get some store credit because there's no way I could have afforded that on day one. Where's... the tip window disappears when I do this, huh? Interesting. Does it disappear over here too? Yeah, it does. So the tip window is only going to appear when I go here, and it's still not appearing properly. There it is. Okay. I think we finally figured it out. Did I? Nope. It's still a mess. We'll figure this out. This is going to be super chill, kind of broken stream though. Yeah, so anyway, I was playing Luminous Arise, and it does not have VR support. Right? They, Enhanced Games came out and said that, hey, we just didn't, we weren't able to get that into the demo, but it will be there day one when it launches, in November, I think. So I've just got this great history with Luminous, and I think there's something very special about when you're playing it and you have it in your hands right in front of you. You're playing, it's like some kind of like better interactive experience than when you've got a controller in your hands and you're playing it on a TV that's across the room. And that's obviously what I was doing. I had a controller and I was playing it on a 50-inch plasma across the room, and it just didn't have the same impact. And I don't know if that's because like I wasn't thrilled with the art design or the blocks that they were using or the music. It just seemed like I remember sometimes in Luminous that the first song is like what catches you and ropes you in, and then it kind of brings it down a little bit for the second song, and then pumps you back up on the third and fourth and fifth stage. So yes, we can. We'll get there. And so I just felt like I didn't have a great experience playing Luminous Arise. Like I just wasn't that into it. Also, it took a little bit to kind of get my brain working again, because the last thing I had played like this was Tetris Effect on PSVR2. Because I spent some serious time with it recently, and I was just absolutely loving it, and it felt very personal, right? Because again, just like holding the portable in front of you, being in VR makes it very personal all over again. So I think the way you have to play the Luminous Arise demo is possibly the worst way you can play Luminous Arise, with the exception, I'm betting if I bring it up on my Portal. I haven't played my Portal much at all. I'm betting if I bring it up on my Portal, I'll have that same PSP experience or PS Vita experience that I had. So, yeah, Robbie says he enjoyed the demo, but also thinking it's going to be much better in VR. Yeah, just like, because I also wasn't playing it with headphones on, right? I'm just using the TV audio. And that's the whole AV experience is going to be a big part of this. But it just feels different. I don't know if you can tell from me playing, but it was hard to get used to the fact that the controls are ever so slightly different than Tetris Effect. With Tetris Effect, I get really used to pushing left and right and then pushing up to drop the block as fast as possible, rather than holding down and having it slide down the screen. I guess there's no reason to let the block slide down the screen, because there's never going to be any gaps in your construction. That's not how this works, because all the blocks fall down to the bottom if there's any like hanging off the side. So I guess, but I kind of wish I could push up to make it drop. Pierce in the chat says, how's the music in the game? Dude, download the demo. Music is so subjective, but none of the 3 or 4 tracks that they let you play really grab me in any way at all. And so I don't know, man. I just think the first track in the original Lumines game on PSP was so good. Right, that's what got me in there. I was like, I don't know, the puzzle mechanics are okay, right? It didn't seem as interesting as Tetris when I was first playing it, but it's the music and the cool, visual effects on screen that kind of rope you in until you start getting hooked by this particular form of, the falling block puzzle game. And then once you're hooked, you're like, I'm so fucking in. And the music here just did nothing for me. Just seemed a little bit too generic. There were even lyrics in the PSP one, right? Was it like something about like time for silence, creepy silence? I don't know. That's all I remember. But I remember it being really, really good, like super, super chill. So, yep. We'll see how this one goes. Still excited for it because I know that VR will be the best way to play it, but I don't want to get ahead of myself here. We've got, what's up, Ace Gamer Cat? Right here with the 1337 says Ace of the Thunder was finally released on October 27th, 2025 for $29.99 USD. Congratulations, everyone. We did it again. Yeah, dude, we can get to that. Let's go to that right now, in fact. Dude. Like, I said it the last time. I said it on the last Friday's show. I was like, I don't want to be the angry internet. I don't want to be the guy complaining about delays and the silliness when it comes to the PlayStation Store, but it's just nonstop, right? We had just gotten September, 2nd release date. And then Gaijin was just like, no. We it's coming this year, but no, that's not the specific date that we meant to launch it on. That was a mistake. And now here we are. No fanfare, no announcement trailer, no nothing from Sony, right? The same exact thing that happened the other day is happening again with an October 28th release date, a price, and the supposed ability to add it to your cart, which you can't do yet again. You cannot add it to your cart yet again. Like, which tells me, and I think tells everybody who's watching this and everybody who saw this on the store, said, well, they fucked up again, right? Whatever happened the last time is what happened this time. It's nonsense. It is nonsense, right? If it popped up this time with a pre-order option, if maybe there was a trailer on the PlayStation YouTube channel, I said, like launch trailer or pre-order trailer or something announcing this, or even a PlayStation blog post. Virtual Resistance says it's incompetent. I mean, yeah, dude, this has been the state of the PlayStation store as far back as I can remember, right? Like it used to be that like the PlayStation 3 store just didn't operate very well. And then when they sort of got it operating better and updated the UI and the interface, and all, like it felt at least competent here and there. But then games started releasing that weren't supposed to release. Things like this would happen. And it's just, I feel like every week there's another reason to shit on the PlayStation store. Robbie says, anyone played Aces? Aces isn't out. That's the misleading thing here. Aces is not out. You can't buy it. He's asking for a review in the chat. I mean, I think he's probably joking. He's got the haha at the end of it. But here's the annoying thing is that people have played it, right? They sent out like those early first impression keys, which I think the game was in alpha at that point, maybe in beta. And all the messages came back like, hey, this isn't quite ready, right? And even watching people's footage on like upload VR or watching AJ's footage that I'm sure I have laying around here somewhere because I keep bringing it up on accident. Hold on, mate. Do I have footage of AJ playing Ace of Thunder? I think this might be footage of AJ playing it. I think this is it. So it's just in-game cat photo owner says it's a new marketing strategy. Yo, I mean, okay. let's find out if it works for them. But yeah, like everyone kind of walked away sort of unimpressed, and so it's, you know, I think what they need to do is get some new impressions out there. You know, not to be like, oh, they need people like, you know, me or AJ or anybody, but they kind of do. I think they need like a new set of first impressions where people are saying, hey, they cleaned this thing up. It's way more exciting to play now. It's a lot more fun. It's way more immersive, whatever it is. And they cleaned up all the issues. Because right now, like, I mean, I'm excited to put the headset on and check it out and see what it looks like on PSVR2 because no one has seen that yet. But dude, this is just getting embarrassing. I mean, I feel like it's been embarrassing for such a long time. I don't know. TS Richards 84 with $5 says, can we talk about how PSVR 2 with lots and lots of spaces is dead for the thousandth time? LOL. We certainly can. Let's heart that. Yeah, I will say, man, anybody, it's so weird that we still get comments like this. You know, I'll get comments on the Without Parole channel. I'll get comments on the on our Twitter account in response to, you know, being like, hey, is anybody interested in a new Star Trek game? Like, anybody interested in a PSVR 2 port of that? Like let's tell these developers that we'll fucking buy this thing, right? That's what we try to do. We try to get out there and like let people know. Let these developers know. Like, I mean, it's Star Trek. Hold on, do I have a trailer for that? Trek VR trailer? Probably not. So I could probably download one on the fly here. Star Trek Infection VR. I don't want the one with the IGN stamp on it. Oh, even the game trailer. What? They all say IGN on it. Hold on, is this one? Yeah, we'll find out. I don't think this one has it. This is why having a co-host is so helpful, because then I can do this stuff behind the scenes and you barely know I'm doing it. But yeah, we still get those comments from people being like, oh, well, you know, since PSVR 2 is dead, I'm not interested in this. And it's like, what? Like, bro, the rest of this year looks amazing. I mean, I can't speak much for 2026, right? We've got a couple games that have kind of slipped into 2026. I think Project Louisiana, the Bounds VR, and there's like one other one. It's basically been like, oh yeah, 2026. But dude, the rest of this year seems just insane. I've seen comments where people saying, listen, if this is all we get, like if this is where the PSVR 2 generation ends, which clearly it isn't, then wow, what an amazing library we're going to die with, right? With like 2.5 years, 3 years under our belt. Oh, hey, it downloaded. Let me bring that trailer up because I really am interested in this game. AJ, is this your footage where you're just touching the plane? You're like, look, you can touch it. Get in the fucking plane and fly it. That's all we get. I'm always asking AJ if this is his footage. If it's not, I apologize. And whoever's footage this is. Wait, is that fucking teleportation around the bat? Please tell me we can walk around the plane and not have. You know what? What a dumb. I'm done. For everyone who needs to use teleportation, I'm happy for you. But man, anytime it's mandatory teleportation, go fuck yourself. Let's see. Star Trek. Infection. Here we go. Listen, Bridge Crew is great, right? But this looks completely different. This is a single player, full-fledged campaign, and I think this would be really cool. And it's really cool that they're you know, they've got a PC VR version of this coming. So we get some, you know, there's a great looking version of it out there. or a good enough looking version of it out there. Although I will say that a lot of the Quest 3 games I've played have looked really, really damn good. Especially in the clarity. You get those pancake lenses and everything just like looks really clean, you know? So even if you sacrifice a little bit of detail sometimes, the Quest games look really clean. But this is like a fucking horror game. Right? And as we've all said, there's just not enough horror in VR. So like this is great. I haven't really been into Star Trek for a while. Like the more recent movies that came out, I say more recent, but that's probably like what, 15 years ago. Those were good. I loved Star Trek Next Generation. And I actually got into Voyager. I was pretty young when Voyager came out, so I don't think I realized how rough around the edges that show really was. Sadly, I didn't really like the original series. I think William Shatner's like overacting and all that is just too much. And I just haven't really seen any of the newer shows. However, a game like this could definitely pull me back in because I love the Star Trek universe. You know, they've always got a nice message, and they're always more thought provoking than the Star Wars stuff has been. And the fact that it's like it looks like it's a horror game. I mean, like fucking sign me up. This is great. So if you happen to be on Twitter, make sure you show some support to that poll that I put up yesterday. I'll probably do it on the community post on the YouTube channel just because we get so much more engagement over there. So I'll have to do it over there. We can get thousands of people showing their support instead of a couple hundred. But yeah, PSVR2 is dead for the 1000th time. Dude, looking through what's coming out for the rest of this year, you know what's crazy is that I can actually access Discord while we do this, which is crazy. I'm not used to being able to just jump on Discord while we're streaming. Yeah, what do we have for the rest of the year? Boxing Underdog supposedly still coming. Zero Caliber is coming in September. Dreams of Another and Reach both in October. Luminous Arise, Omega Pilot Evolution both in November. Those are the ones with actual like confirmed release windows or supposed. Then we got Aces of Thunder, which supposedly is coming out in October. Already Dead, which for those of you who really like the original Resident Evil and are looking for some retro survival horror, that would be good. That Katana Red Flowers game from the Stride people, that's supposed to be out this year. Cold VR, where the fuck is Cold VR? Crazy, right? Cold VR came out on all these platforms forever ago, and then we just never really got the PSVR2 version never came around. Dude, Dungeons and Dragons and Demio battle marked. Secret of the Mimic should be out this year. Ghost Town should be out this year. The Obsessive Shadow, Out of Sight VR, Pools maybe. I think RoboQuest is still planned for this year. Shadowgate VR, Sunder the Arrival, Surviving Mars Pioneer, Thief VR. Come on, Thief VR. That's insanity. Like, we just have so many games coming out that, like, I mean, if PSVR2 is dead, then all VR is dead, right? Because this is where things are looking really, really good. And there's a rumor, just a rumor, that there's going to be a state of play at the end of September. So we're like less than a month away from a state of play. And I don't know, like, you guys tell me in the chat. Actually, you know what? Can we put a poll up? I want to put a poll up. I like polls. The bigger, the better. Nope, not start a QA. I've never started a QA with my audience. I don't even know how that would work. Let's see. RE9 VR next month SOP. We're going to go yes and no. Do you guys think that we're going to see Resident Evil 9 at the state of play next month? Right? Would that shut everyone up for a while, you think? Would everybody go, oh yeah, man, PSVR 2's back, baby? The same way, I think it was the same state of play or the same showcase, whatever the fuck it was. We got the announcement of Hitman World of Assassination, which, I mean, like, we should still be screaming about from top of our lungs, and the Midnight Walk, right? If you're getting that caliber of games from a state of play, then I don't think Resident Evil 9 is out of the question for a state of play. Also, like, where was RE4 and Village announced, were those also state of plays? You guys have better memories than I do. In my head, state of plays and showcases are virtually identical. World of Long Play says too early. That's possible. That's possible. But again, I do think it's important that they tell us before launch that it's coming. You know, they told us day and date with Resident Evil 4 Remake that the VR mode was coming, but they didn't tell us forever that Village was coming. And so too many people played Village flat screen, and then we're like, oh yeah, I've already been there, done that. By the time it came to PSVR2, so kind of tough. We've seen it happen so many different ways. Ooh, Rypop says no. We'll see the Secret of the Mimic. Dude, that sounds right. That sounds right. Because Secret of the Mimic just went missing in action, right? And I really do think that Secret of the Mimic is happening in October. I think they're going to capitalize on that. The game's been out for a couple months now, or a month, and yeah, interesting. I wonder if they don't do it at a State of Play Requiem, where would they do it? What's up? What's going on? Just saw her staring over my shoulder. I didn't realize she was awake. Dan Kiefer says, I'm sorry, this Star Trek game looks fucking dope. Dude has an eye on his tentacle arm. Yeah. It's good stuff. What's up? GameCado sending out 5 without parole memberships. Oh shit, hold on a second. This tip window is going to crash. Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody sending their support, and GameCado for being so generous and getting some people on board with these memberships. Remember, guys, you get a membership. You can do some of these super chats for free. I think you get one free one every month. Yeah, Super Nintendo Chalmers in the Viewer Takeover channel over on Discord. Remember, guys, click the link in the description below. Come join our Discord. That's where you can leave your Viewer Takeover questions or just be part of the daily conversation. He writes, can we expect a live Halloween stream this year? I think that would be a fun idea. I need a reason to ask off and do something in the spirit of Halloween since I tend to work every year. With a couple months to go, what would be some fun ideas the crew would like to do if possible, or if it's possible? Costumes? Live streaming VR horror games, horror movie commentary, if there's a way to work around copyrights. Otherwise, what are your Halloween plans? Okay, so you guys know at this point that Halloween extends pretty far for me. You know, I begin my celebrations of Halloween like at the latest the beginning of September, and I feel like I already got a little bit of jump on it this year, starting Alien Earth and going to see Weapons in the theater. And we got so much other good stuff happening in terms of like games. I really do think that like if we don't see Slender the Arrival and Secret of the Mimic all happening in October, I'd be surprised. But I like to pack the channel from like October 1st to the 31st with as much, you know, Halloween content as I possibly can, because that's my jam, man. That's you know, it's kind of what the channel was founded on. It's like people who love horror, people, you know, eventually people who love VR horror. So yeah, so I definitely want to pack the channel full of stuff, and I think, you know, the number one thing for at least the beginning of October is you know, making sure I get some Brian bites out there and maybe some reviews for games that got past us, like it's not called Get Out, is it? What the hell? What's the Very Bad Dream story? Is it called Get Out? That can't be right. I mean, that's the name of a horror movie, Get Out, right? It's not called Get Out, Very Bad Dream Story, is it? I don't know why I haven't given him more shit about that, if that's actually the case. But so yeah, like I definitely want to review Very Bad Dreams on PSVR2, and on top of that, you know, the spin-off Get Out, and yeah, and like I said, any other VR horror stuff that I can possibly cover. Do some live streams over the course of the month. But for Halloween itself, I got to say that usually I go so crazy with the stuff throughout the course of October that by the end of October I'm completely burnt out. and I usually want to do stuff myself. It is Get Out. That's crazy to me. They were like, oh, we're just gonna call the game Get Out. That's so funny. I'm sure I made a big deal about it at the time when it was first announced, but I've just kind of gotten used to it, right? Yeah. Tatum Sam talking about Overdark. No, that's very. That's oh my god, dude, this is too much. what is Overdark part of? That's a different franchise. I've totally screwed this up down. Do Not Open, right? Wasn't it Do Not Open? Hold on a second. God, this light's just too much. It's like blaring, like blinding me. But just this part of this eye, it's like I'm just going slightly blind over here. Yeah, so as far as like Halloween itself, like I don't know, man. Like I don't know if I'm even gonna be around. Like maybe I can schedule some stuff to go live Halloween night just for the celebration. But like I want to be like at some kind of haunted house. I want to be like out doing something, celebrating it. You know, kind of like the grand finale of the month. But yeah, if you guys have good suggestions, you know, leave them here in the chat and then also in the comments after the stream's over. And you know, whatever you guys are thinking, we can probably make happen. But there'll definitely be streams. Like I want my first impressions, whether I'm doing it live on the channel for Slender and Secret of the Mimic. I need my first impressions. I need my actual first playthrough recorded, right? Because I'm a baby, man. I'm a baby. You guys remember the Persistence and Resident Evil 7 and all these games that. Man, I'm so glad I captured some of my first impressions, like my actual playthrough, because I screamed, right? And like, you don't get that in a review. You just don't. Like, it's a completely different situation. I get to sit back and casually watch my footage and talk about it. Completely different situation when it comes to. So I want that whether it's live or not. Yeah. Spooky says new weapon in Ancient Dungeon soon. Yeah, dude. They put out a new poem or something, or a little rhyme today, to kind of clue us in to what that's going to be. Some people, it sounded like a boomerang to me, but some other people said it sounds like a whip. And all I'll say about that is that the mage class I thought was fucking brilliant. I really did. I thought the mage class was so good. I already think the Ancient Dungeon is just top tier. Such an addictive gameplay loop. So much fun stuff to unlock. So much fun to play alone or with friends now. They've got me roped back in. So yeah. So whatever they do, whatever Eric Thelen decides to do with Ancient Dungeon, he has my complete trust. I think it's going to be great. Durbin Brown says, does Into Black have matchmaking to find random players? It does. It does. Hopefully a lot of people have picked up Into Black. Into Black's great. And it's not crossplay. I checked with the developers today. I never actually checked on that before launch. And but hopefully there's enough people playing on PSVR2, or you've got a group of friends that you can jump in with, because obviously any multiplayer game on any VR headset, you're going to struggle finding random players to play with. There's a couple exceptions, right? I think Pavlov and maybe Firewall 0 Hour still is probably still kicking. Yep. Secrets Dove says, I noticed Into Black has a stream option. Yeah, which I definitely did not notice. I think you can. I think you can look at my footage and you can see that the eye tracking really makes the footage look rough. And so here I am with 12 hours of gameplay footage after the fact, and just very unhappy with the way the social screen output looked. Because sorry, sirens on my end. You can see where I'm looking on the screen because the DFR is so strong, right? Like outside of the focal point, it is just so pixelated, and I'm like, fuck, man. Like, and realizing that there's a streamer option. after the fact, right? It's interesting. The binary mail is very laid back when it comes to how they do review keys. You just get a DM from somebody and they're like, here, don't publish anything until the 26th. And like, that's it, right? Like most people, when they send out review keys, it's like this whole PDF that you got to read through and agree to the fact that like, maybe first impressions on this day and blah, 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 blah. And here's everything you need to know if you're a streamer or you're a reviewer. Yeah, just nothing with Into Black. So I do feel really bad because I feel like the footage could have looked so much better in my review. So that's a shame. Here, we're just gonna have trailers playing of whatever I'm talking about after we're done talking about it. Hey, let's see. How's that poll doing? Yo, 107 votes. Will RE9 VR be at next month's State of Play? 50-50. You guys are split right down the middle. Man. I will say it's a lot of horror stuff, right? It's a good time to have horror stuff announced. But if it is, Secret of the Mimic and Resident Evil and who knows what else, they could frame it as like, hey, the spooky season's here with PSVR2 type thing. Because if they just did it and didn't, they just showed a bunch of horror games and didn't actually reference the fact that, hey, we're showing a bunch of horror games. I think the feedbacks would be bad. The feedback would be bad. It would just be like, oh, it's all there is. All there is. Because that's all you get, right? That's all you get on PSVR 2. You either get there's no games or there's only horror games. It's like you can't win. Fortunately, I love horror games, and so if we only get horror games, I'm happy. Anyway, we're ending the poll. Last minute kick. 52% said yes, 48% said no. And I'm still torn. I think it'd be great to have. I can't end the poll. Maybe I can. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be going away. So. Imzadi says, Brian, did you ever work out how to build a ship on No Man's Sky? Yes. Like 5 years ago. I have 30 something hours in No Man's Sky. Did that just crash? Everything, all the windows like to crash all the time. Let's fix this. There we go. But no, in my more recent playthrough, I'm just getting going on this, and I am very, very excited to spend more time in No Man's Sky. Like I said, if you haven't watched the Into Black review, you should. I spent a lot of time working on it. I'm getting back into the swing of doing reviews, and they're not easy. They're very, very time consuming. And so be patient with me. I'm going to do my best to keep reviews coming out and Brian bites and all that. But I am just getting back into the swing of things. And like I said, man, like I've been struggling with sleep, and my sleep schedule is a mess. I've got sleep apnea. I've got a CPAP machine that keeps me awake, which is not helpful. And I'm still trying to lose weight. And I think once I've got all the pieces to the puzzle, and I think once the puzzle starts to look a little bit more complete, once I've lost a little bit more weight, I start getting to a better sleep routine and get better sleep. I think I'm going to get some of my energy back and actually start being able to get these videos out on a little more timely manner and work longer days and stuff. So that's the hope. That's the hope. So be patient with me. You guys know I love doing what I do here. I love it. Without Parole it's the best job I've ever had. It's my favorite job I've ever had, and I'm excited to, I'm excited for the future of the channel. I think VR's got a bright future, and I think when things are better for VR, I think everybody that's been here, right? I feel like we're battling this war and we're in the trenches, and I think the success of VR is just going to feel and taste and smell that much sweeter when we're on the other side of it, right? Like we had to fight for this. We made it happen. I honestly, I really do think, man, like, and I've heard tinges of this from different developers and people in much more powerful places than you'd expect. Be like, if it wasn't for you guys, like this wouldn't exist. This game would not be on PSVR2. PSVR2 might not exist, right? Because we were such a powerful force, you know, small in numbers but very fucking loud on PSVR1, that like PSVR2 might not exist if it wasn't for this awesome community and the fact that we've like made so much noise about it. So remember that when we have PSVR2 support on PlayStation 6 and we're getting more AAA games and we're getting more hybrid games and we're getting, it's just, you know, this constant influx of stuff we're excited for, and things start in hybrid games start becoming more commonplace. Remember that you're the ones to thank for that, right? Because you fucking stuck around and you made a difference, right? You didn't bitch and whine and moan and say, oh, there's no games. Fuck VR. Oh, Sony's done with VR. They're not supporting it. Instead, you stuck around and made a difference. Instead, you stuck around and reached out to developer after developer after developer and said, hey, we really want this on PSVR 2. And then the game comes to PSVR 2 and it sells better there than anywhere else. That's a fucking success story. So you're going to have yourself to thank when VR is successful in a couple of years. You know, when we can actually call it a success and it's not still, you know, on its deathbed like it sort of has been for such a long time. You guys have faith and I have faith. We all have faith. And so we're gonna make this happen together. Sony can blacklist me all they want. We're not gonna let this thing die. Not sure Brondo with the level 3 membership says PSVR 2 does have spaces. They're just silent. Not here, they don't. Listen, so if Sony doesn't care about PSVR 2, well then we're picking up the mantle and we're taking away all the spaces. I was gonna say we're putting a space right in the middle of it. No, it has a space right in the middle of it. We're taking that space back, man. We're taking that space back. That space is ours. This has become such a fucking dumb show. I love it. Game Cato with the Australian $5 tip says, Struth Cobber, I heard that Ace of Thunder got delayed for Sony to help them implement PSSR. Woo! Yeah. OMG. Slay. Fuck yeah. Okay. That's good. That's really good. And also, dude, so happy that that everybody in the comments was like, you know, chiming in, whether it be in the live chat or the comments after the fact on Wednesday's show, when I was like, dude, I was switching back and forth between PSSR on and off, and I just wasn't noticing a difference in No Man's Sky. And everyone's like, oh, you got to get off the planet. You got to get off the planet and get up to the anomaly of space station, and then you'll see more of a difference there, right? A lot of the shimmer is gone there. Like, okay, cool. I'm very happy to hear that. But it still throws me for a loop, though. That's like you spend a lot of time on planets, and it's like, and it was just difficult to see the difference there. But I'm really, really glad that people who are, you know, hardcore about No Man's Sky are like, they're seeing the difference, right? So last thing I want to do is be like, oh, what? There's no point. It's so silly. But you guys, you know, that's why I need you guys around. Right? I can't know everything about every game. I just can't. I wish I did, but I don't. And so it's awesome. It's awesome having you guys around and letting me know what's up. I'm listening. I promise. Fifth with the Australian $2 tip says, what game had the best story to you, flat or VR? Oof. I don't know, man. I think BioShock. I really do. I think BioShock, the first one, I really, you know, when you get, I think actually the second one had a decent story too, but the third one, by the time you get to Columbia, it's just like fucking whatever. Yeah, I don't know. BioShock just feels so memorable. They've got the they've got lots of like memorable quotes and memorable environments, and it's so much. While there are like technically cutscenes in the game, right? Like you're watching stuff from behind a pane of glass or whatever. You're listening to audio logs. There's all sorts of story baked in that way. Your experience of just going through it, the environmental storytelling is so well done. You walk into a room and you're like, Jesus, I can tell what happened here just by entering the room and looking around, right? You're seeing the damage to the wall and the water pouring in from the hydro tube. I just made that word up. I don't think it's a word. The hydro tube. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff that I feel like I just haven't seen very frequently in many games. I think BioShock just did it better than any other game. And I think that's why it resonates with me. I don't think the gameplay was like insanely good or anything. Maybe it was. Maybe in VR it'll be amazing. Because that's got to happen someday. I'm just waiting for the flat to VR announcement, right? One of these VR game showcase announcements or showcases on PlayStation's YouTube channel, right? We're just gonna see flat to VR, and then we're gonna hear Andrew Ryan talk, and it'll be the greatest day in VR history. I don't know. Thank you, Fifth. MH the Red Cat That Matters. Woo, putting yourself up on a pedestal there, bud. With the €5 says, hey Brian, after chain playing. This is a new kind of new terminology. I gotta add to my vernacular. Chain playing. After chain playing Arcanage, Saints and Sinners, and Behemoth, I need something colorful, fun, and chill. Galaxy Kart or Snow Scout? Love, MH. I think Into Dark is really colorful. I don't, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. Like you can play it in single player, and you know your little robot companion makes all sorts of jokes. And it's a fun little gameplay loop, and the OLED panels are just like brilliant for Into Black. Keep calling it Into Dark. And so it's just even though I complained about the repetitive environments, you know, it is so nice because it is so repetitive. It is so nice when you walk into a room and there's like this red crystal that illuminates the entire room, right? Or there's like lava and everything just like, you know, so vibrant in the headset. And then you go into like other parts of the cave and there's like these crystals that are blue and it just kind of sets the mood. It really is a super, like strangely super relaxing game when you play it by yourself. What was the, somebody help me out in the chat. What was the, hold on, we got this. How many hands do I need? There we go. All right. What was the game on PSVR 1? The one where you fly around in the caves? Oh, what was it? I remember having this super stressful day, right? Just super stressful. And I woke up the next day to like these, to having a review key in my inbox. And that's always like nice when you just, oh, here's a game. Right. And so I got into the headset on PSVR 1 and just flew around in these caves. And like, it was so simple. Like it was very geometrically basic, right? But the colors were there, and just flying around at a slow pace. There's like this whole roguelite element where you kept upgrading your ship as you go. The whole thing was made by one person. No. Oh yeah. Oh good. Looper's here. Oh crap. This is going to drive me up the fucking wall, and you know it. Yes, thank you. Oh man, proof that God exists. Tom the 12-Toed Game Cat says Cavernous Wastes. I never in a million years would I remember the name of that game, but dude, I woke up and I was so stressed out, and I got into the headset and I started playing that game, having no idea what it is, thinking it was like, it's supposed to be kind of like Descent, right? Where you fly around on all axes and you go through these cave systems, and it's supposed to be like this action game, and I found it so. Here, do I have any footage of Cavernous Wastes? Because if you guys are not familiar, yo, this is Cavernous Wastes. So simple. It's supposed to be an action game, and I found it to be the most therapeutic, most relaxing game I had played in a very long time, and I absolutely loved it. I loved Cavernous Wastes, and and that's how I feel about playing Into Black by myself, right? Yes, there's firefights in combat and these massive action sequences. We get attacked by these golems that are like, 4 stories high. but there's something about being in those dark caves by yourself that's so chill and relaxing. That I kind of love it by myself. You know who else loves it by themselves? I saw Wes here earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but that was for him. And so yeah, so Into Black, I think is a great kind of wipe your hands clean from the insane action and over the top grit from like Saints and Sinners and Arcanage, and something very clean and pristine about Into Black and Cavernous Waste. If you have a PSVR1, I wonder if that guy's still around. The developer of that, I have no idea. Good game. I have no idea where the chat is. There it is. We could tackle some tips though too. Hopefully that helped, MH. I don't know if it did or not. Maybe you're already playing Into Black. But considering that Into Black came out like yesterday or the day before, it's definitely a top in everyone's mind. Also, play some Masternoid. Masternoid's great. Some classic Arkanoid style breakout shit, and it looks beautiful in the headset. Something about just anything that takes like great advantage of the OLED panel on PSVR2 and gives us that that like super ultra high, super sampled resolution where everything looks like just so clear that you forget you're in a VR headset. You know, Subside did that, Masternoid did that, Red Matter, I think both of those games did that. Just like beautiful. Dead Ringer, what's up? Dead Ringer with the $2 tips. Any plans for top 10 of 2025 show? Happy Friday. Ooh. Let's tackle one thing at a time. I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing for October, and like we're not even in September yet. And so yeah, so figuring out what's happening in December, basically to wrap up what happened in 2025 is still a big question mark. I've had very surface level talks with Perp Games about being like, hey, like the whenever we did an award show over the past few years, it was so, you guys remember this, right? It was the reason why it took me 10 months to get around to doing a Resident Evil 4 VR review. Because the entire month of December or in part of November was taken up by emailing, corresponding, all these different developers, doing my best. If you want like 10 game reveals or updates from developers, you know, you want a reason for people to tune into your show, then dude, you literally have to email 400 developers, 400 publishers to get 10 that are halfway interesting, right? Because there's going to be a couple that you're going to be like, no, this isn't interesting at all. Oh my God, the gameplay footage you gave me is like not selling your game and probably bad advertising for your game because it's just too early, right? The number of times I've seen like such very promising but very early footage of, you're like, dude, just don't even talk about your game yet. Like it's not ready. No one's going to get excited about this. So yeah, so the amount of corresponding you have to do just to get 10 game reveals is ridiculous. It's like a full-time job. And then on top of that, you got to like script everybody's speech. You know, when you have like 10 or 15 different influencers, YouTubers, whatever you want to call them, VR content creators, you got to script everybody's lines, right? Because they're already doing you a favor and showing up and just being like, hey, I'm sure I'll be here, but like, what do you want me to say? It's like, so you got to script everything, and then it's like just this massive edit. So early talks with Perp saying, listen, we should do it again, but it should be more of like a Perp 2025 like PSVR2 award show, you know, hosted by Without Parole. So I want to basically unload all the work onto them and say, let's do this, but you guys got to do all the editing and you guys got to do all the scripting and you guys got to reach out. You've got all these contacts like for game announcements, and you know, we can have it be heavily Perp focused in terms of announcements, right? So they can get their money's worth and time's worth out of doing the entire thing, right? But then but I think that's the only way it could possibly happen. So I gotta dive into those conversations. But if none of that happens, then a top 10 of 2025 show, yeah, it's like something that's not scripted, and we just kind of shoot the shit and get everybody on here. Get, a nice little array of different Parole board members. We talk about our favorite games of the show, our favorite games of the year. Yeah, I'm down. See, I always just want to go big with this shit, right? It ends up biting me in my ass. So, all right. What's up, Super Nintendo Chalmers with the $5 says, thank you for going solo today, Brian. We all appreciate your fortitude. I voted no for Resident Evil 9 at VR State of Play because I don't want to jinx it. It's not happening. I get it, man. I get it. If you keep your expectations low, if you don't expect too much from me, you may not be let down. As the prophets Gin Blossoms once said. Dude, 90s music, dude. Was Gin Blossoms 90s? I don't even know. It was good. New Miserable Experience was a good album. I'll stand by that. I tried to go back and listen to it recently. Has anybody else had this experience? You go back and listen to music from like the 90s, and it's not the music that's aged poorly. It's just the fucking terrible recording. It's crazy. Try to listen to New Miserable Experience, or New, is that what it's called? And whew, like I don't think there's no bass. I just don't know. Did they not have a bass player, or did their drummer not have a bass drum? It just sounds like there's no bass at all. Anyway. Yeah, you're welcome for going solo today, Super Nintendo Chalmers. It was yesterday. I realized I wasn't going to have a co-host, and I started thinking and brainstorming and asking people in Discord. And then I said, fuck, I got to finish this Into Black review. And then went to bed and forgot to line anybody up. But every so often, man, I do find this pretty therapeutic to just kind of sit here and chill with you guys and not have to worry about like the back and forth so much with the co-host. God, what other 90s music? Scott, the PSVR Game Fat for Life says, or maybe it's just your ears, Brian, you got old. Maybe, but like I'm listening to it like I'm literally skipping, from band to band to band, listening to MCR or The Used or Brand New or whoever, right? Taking Back Sunday, whoever I listen to these days. And then Gin Blossoms comes on, and it's just like completely different sound. It just sounds so thin, so hollow. So I don't think it's me. Anyway, yeah, dude, I would really like to do these solo shows like once a month or something like that. Like nothing scheduled, but like if somebody doesn't show up, then so be it, right? Somebody's busy. Why rush out? Why rush out and try to find a co-host when this is fun, man? I like this. Get to kick back and I'm doing my best to keep an eye on the chat, but you guys are being super generous with the tips, and so you're distracting me. Tatum with the Taking Back shout out, Sunday shout out. Fuck yeah, that's why it was on my mind. Tatum sent me a video, Taking Back Sunday. If you guys ever see Taking Back Sunday on like TikTok or anything, people will go to their shows and like Adam just sounds like he's been through the ringer, right? Like just nothing. Does not sound. Can't sing on key. He just sounds terrible. But it just seems like there's just like a couple. He just isn't great here and there. Maybe he just has like bad nights, or maybe he drinks a lot. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I've never seen them live, so I don't know if they were ever amazing live. But I do like Taking Back Sunday a lot. I don't know most of their catalog. I know like what was the big one? I don't know. I know their first 3 albums, maybe like 3.5, and that's it. I fell off completely. Andrew Ehrenreich, what's up? Andrew Ehrenreich, who, man, so nostalgic. Andrew Ehrenreich, along with Samson and a few others, are going back and rewatching so many old episodes of GAMESCAST, the Midnight GAMESCAST, GAMESCAST Live, all the different shows we did back then, Gaming Without Parole, and just just dredging up all these old memories of different games that I haven't talked about in years, games that we were excited about, like Seeking Dawn and Nostos. It just never became a thing, like ever. you guys remember Seeking Dawn? This was crazy. Hold on a second. Do I have a Seeking Dawn trailer? Yes, I do. I love when I have a 720p trailer just sitting around. Hold on a second. Let's get this full screen. Let's drag it over. So you guys remember this? It was Seeking Dawn. It was when it launched, I think it was supposed to be VR only, and then they added a flat screen mode trying to get more sales. But this was supposed to be like before No Man's Sky ever even thought about making a VR mode. This was supposed to be like kind of a little bit of a smaller No Man's Sky style game where you run around and it's like this big survival thing, and you're like, you know, grabbing resources and crafting in order to survive. And look, I mean, it looks fucking beautiful. Right? Look, this looks beautiful. This is like 2017 VR, right? 2017. And so these developers were like, oh yeah, we're bringing it to PSVR 1. Fast forward like 6-8 months and they're like, yeah, we're not bringing it to PSVR 1. Like we had to sacrifice way too much to make this work. And then even on Steam, they were just like, oh, this is not optimized very well. People, you know, had somewhat powerful computers that were just saying, nope, it stutters too much, crashes too much. And so they were already getting a game that was poorly optimized over to PSVR 1. And sadly, I don't think it ended well for the studio. I could be wrong. I'll have to double check on that, but that's what I remember. And I mean, just look at this. Look at this. The 2017 VR, right? We could get this exact same trailer today and people would still complain. But most people would be like, this looks fucking great. Right? Great. I think studios were so ambitious back then, because we all thought the future of VR was a little bit brighter, and so they just took all the money they had, they dumped it into these games, and then fucking it didn't go well, right? They just dumped all their money in and got nothing in return, and then we never heard from him again. So, look, it didn't even get the PlayStation VR fucking logo. I didn't even know it had the PSVR logo in it this early. That's crazy. Markio says this is 1000% not in-game trailer. I remember seeing gameplay footage of it and having it look really good. You know, still stuttering and stuff. But really good stuff though. Really, like, again, shockingly ambitious for 2017. It's like this is Robinson the Journey ambitious, right? Robinson looked beautiful, especially on the Pro. Like there's stuff on PSVR2 that doesn't look nearly as good as this or Robinson. I love it. What was the question? Sorry. Sirens on mine. Literally nothing to do with what Andrew Ehrenreich was asking. He says, any idea what happened to Madison the Maxwell's Curse? Don't know if it was DLC or a sequel, but it was supposed to release in Q1 2025 and went silent. I don't know, but I will say this. I feel like there's been there's obviously been good stuff happening around Madison, right? Madison VR brought like a whole nother audience to that franchise, and got people really excited about. Hold on a second, did I fix this yet? No, here, let me fix this. This has to shrink down to about. Everything's broken. I don't care. Is that to shrink down to what, here or so? Let's find out. This is why everything is 1080p on my hard drive now, just to kind of keep everything uniform. Dude, if people have asked me to increase the resolution output for reviews, for live streams, and I think the highest I could go right now is 1440, right? Because that's the social screen output on PSVR2 is 1440, and so it'd be silly to go 4K. It would be absolutely pointless. There'd be no benefit to anybody other than, like, you know, maybe a bunch of lag and shit when I try to stream. And like upload sizes would be insane, and my hard drive would be full all the time with footage and shit. But man, if I updated everything to 1440, oh man, everything being 1080p on this computer would be a nightmare. So whatever, that's a lot of shit you didn't need to hear about. But dude, I have no idea what happened to Maxwell's curse. The Maxwell's curse is, you're right, it was supposed to be the next thing that was happening for Madison, and you gotta wonder if it maybe got a little bit too big, right? And maybe it was just time to call it Madison 2. You know, I think the people to ask would be Perp or the developers themselves. I don't know if anybody's willing to talk right now, but you know, as this seems to be what happens so frequently. Like something begins as DLC, and you go, "Oh fuck! Like we're gonna have to charge for this," and then they're like, "Well, if we're gonna have to charge for it, well, let's make it even bigger." And then they make it even bigger, and then they're like, "Oh, we might have to charge more for this." and then you get to a point where you're like, "We got to charge so much for this that like we better make it into a new game." And so my bet, again, pure speculation. I've not talked to these developers. I don't know what's happening over at Bloodius, but my bet would be, if I had to bet a pizza. And you guys know my pizza bets, they are always so fucking flawless. I think I owe everybody a pizza for Ace of Thunder. My bet would be that this DLC is not happening. It got really ambitious, and now it's a brand new game, and so that works. I'm more than happy. I think I'd prefer to get Madison 2 rather than DLC for Madison 1. Same thing with Arcane Age, right? I'd rather have a brand new full experience. Because by the time like this DLC ever came out, or an Arcane Age DLC ever came out, I've been away from it too long, dude. I can't watch single episodes once a week, getting through a season. Right when things like Alien Earth drop, and they're doing one episode a week, bro. That feels so outdated to me, right? And so I started watching episode 3 of Alien Earth, and I was like, wait, hold on a second. It's only been a week and I have no idea what happened at the end of episode 2. And so I just stopped immediately. I was like, I'm going to wait for like 6 of these to come out, or 8 of these to come out, and just binge the entire thing. That's how I need to consume stuff. And so that's kind of how I am with DLC. It's like, if the game's been out for too long, then I'm good, right? I'm good. Like, just let's move on to something brand new. Don't make me go back into a saved game and load some DLC and try to find the new area of the map or whatever. It's just that it doesn't do it for me. So that's not what you were asking, Andrew, but that's how I feel about it. I will do my best, man. I will try to get in touch with them, because obviously, dude, I think the love for Madison VR has been pretty big. So Awesome Tatum with $10. Thank you so much, buddy, for your generosity. He says, PlayStation handheld fund. It docks, Brian. All right, we should talk about this. This is the PlayStation 6 rumor, right? That the PlayStation 6 is gonna essentially have a console and a handheld. Is that what the rumor is? Here, I gotta look this shit up, because I kind of saw it in passing and then didn't pay much attention to it. PS6 rumors. All right. Please forgive me if I act a little strange. I make fun of Dave Matthews, but I'll sing that shit all day. Who's that? David Gray? Was that who that was? Please forgive me if I act a little, for I know not what I do. Something like that. I told you guys, if I start singing, this show is off the rails, and now I've sang the whole time. PlayStation 6 handheld rumors are ramping up. This time with claims it's dockable. Dockable. This is from Wesley Yinpool. This is very recent. This was from today, this morning. All right, so this is good. Let's see what Wesley has to tell us. Not the Wesley we're used to, but the Wesley we need. We're nearly 5 years into the current console lifecycle for Microsoft and Sony, that is, and so it's perhaps inevitable that credible rumors around what both companies have up their sleeves in terms of hardware are ramping up. The latest rumor, which deals with the alleged PlayStation 6 handheld console, includes some interesting detail that, if it has a basis in reality, could suggest that Nintendo Switch 2 has a competitor on their hands. Moore's Law is dead. It said in a recent video that this is so far unannounced that this so far unannounced PlayStation 6 handheld will be dockable and backwards compatible with PS4 and PS5 games. The YouTube channel even has information on alleged specs for the device, which apparently includes a 16 CU RDNA 5 iGPU clocked at 1.20 gigahertz in handheld mode and 1.65 gigahertz in docked mode. According to Moore's Law's Dead, PS6 handheld will cost significantly less than the upcoming Xbox Ally X. What a fucking terrible name. Xbox Ally X. Got too many goddamn X's. You know who else has too many goddamn X's? This motherfucker right... No, I'm sorry. I'll shut up. This will cost significantly less than the Xbox Ally X, age way better, and be raw performance stronger. The Rogue Ally and Xbox Ally release on October 16th, but Microsoft has yet to announce the price. A brief mention of what's described as PS6S, which sounds like it could be to the PS6 what the Xbox Series S is to the Xbox Series X. If this is true, you'd expect the less powerful console to be cheaper. Moore's Law's Dead estimates $300 to $400 for PS6 and $400 to $500 for the PS6 handheld. Oh, I'm sorry, $300 to $400 for the PS6S, $550 to $700 for the base PS6, and then $400 to $500 for the PS6 handheld. 2027 release window for all three devices. I'll tell you, I like it. I play my Switch 2 way more than I expected to. I bought it because of a little bit of FOMO, you know, the Switch 2, and then I spent 100 hours playing Breath of the Wild over the last month. Right? I'm always like, I just don't know where I'll find time to play Hitman. I just don't know where I'll find time to play No Man's Sky. Bro, apparently, I've got plenty of time because I blasted through Breath of the Wild. I'm not even done, but I'm almost done. I've got like one more Divine Beast and then Ganon, and fucking let's go. Let's do this. I'm ready to wrap that shit up. Breath of the Wild's been awesome on Switch too, but I'm done. I'm ready to be done. Time to move on to No Man's Sky. Markio says there's no way it's coming out in 2027. If you consider that it would likely be October or November 2027, that's 2 full years away. I think that that's possible, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I honestly think that this generation has been just a fucking catastrophe, clusterfuck from the beginning. You know, because of things happening internally at Sony and things happening externally out in the world. I'm a little concerned that Sony is too concerned about dwindling console numbers, right? Because console sales are not going up; they're going down. And if you ever if you talk to anybody under the age of 30, 25, you'll find out the reason very fast. They're PC gamers now. Kids all build their own PCs. I don't know if quickly ushering in another generation of consoles, sirens on my end, with a lower price point or in the option for a lower spec PS6 at a cheaper, affordable price point is the answer we need. I think the answer we need is for the price of the PlayStation 5 to go down. Right? I think what maybe Sony's not noticing, or maybe they are noticing and just don't give a fuck, is that the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 and even PlayStation 3 sold so well because even though they started out relatively high price points for that generation, for the time that we were in, $300 was so much more money in 2000 than it is now. Over the course of those generations, we got revised models of those consoles, and then the price subsequently went down. right? They found a way to produce those cheaper, make them smaller, right? Ship more of them in a box. And I mean, do you guys remember like the PlayStation 2 by the end of the PS2 lifespan? That was the size of a DVD case. It was insanely small. And I think it was like $100 or $130. It was crazy. Like if you didn't own a PlayStation 2 at the end of the PS2 generation, then there was something wrong with you because it was so affordable. And at that point, the game library was ridiculously big. And so many games that were so old at that point that you get them really, really cheap. Pays to wait. But yet the PlayStation 4 barely ever went down in price. It just went up with a Pro. And the PlayStation 5 isn't going down in price. It's just been going up for various reasons. Let's not get into it. What we need is a PlayStation 5 that is half the size and half the price. And that's what they should be focused on, right? You need to get people back into the PlayStation ecosystem, right? The way to get people to not want to spend $1,500 building a powerful PC is by offering them a $300 alternative. That's how you get people back into your ecosystem. It helps if you have exclusive games. And these are things that are falling by the wayside, right? Because it's so much more expensive to develop games these days. And so you're like, well, we'll just put it on PC. We'll just put it on Xbox. Fuck, people are playing Gears of War on PlayStation 5. Like, what timeline are we in? I get it, man. You got to adapt with the changing times, but also there are things that I think Sony is letting go that made them successful that they need to remember. You can have it both ways, right? You can sell your games to PC gamers, but also work on getting the cost of your hardware down, getting the cost of your first party games down, right? All of this is important. It's all important. And that's all to say that, yeah, I'm fucking excited for this because again, I'm playing my Switch 2 way more than I expected to. And so having, like a handheld PlayStation 6 sounds awesome. Better start saving. I just hope that like this is that, that for PlayStation 6 and PS5 specifically, I guess I hope we're getting out of this growth period that we're in, or this weird transitional period that we're in, right? Where we experience like so much weirdness with this with the PlayStation 5 generation. Again, getting games out, having them be so expensive and having development times be so long. And then on top of that, just experiencing problems with PlayStation VR2 that we didn't experience on PSVR 1, like reprojection. I just hope that by the time PS6 rolls around, it's like, okay, we flattened all of that. These are not terms we even need to talk about anymore. So we'll see how that goes. Oh shit. Sorry, I didn't realize how many tips. I've just been going off on a tangent and just talking. So don't mind me. Silver Nexus with the $10 tip says, on behalf of all the Game Cats, thank you for the show tonight. Oh, dude, thank you. Is this if we did this like once a month, right? Like whenever somebody had to drop out or whatever, that's fine, right? Everybody down with this, doing this like once a month? Oh, Neon Pizza says the Switch 2 finally made Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom playable. Okay, I heard those games really stuttered. So that's really cool because again, I love Breath of the Wild. I think it's one of the greatest open world games I've played. It's like Fallout 3 and Breath of the Wild. Like those are two of the big ones for me. But I do want to play more Zelda stuff. Like I've missed out on a lot over the years. And so I'm not Tears of the Kingdom is just too much, right? It's like I just finished Breath of the Wild, or I'm about to finish it. So I'm not Tears of the Kingdom I'll go to in 2028. I'll play that in a few years. But something a little different, top-down style Zelda. I might look into that. Joseph Orchard, 12/15. Is that December 15th? Is that your birthday? You telling everybody your birthday? Everybody say happy early birthday. We're only 4 months away. He says, I believe in you, Brian. Thank you for the $5 tip. He says, I believe in you, Brian. I'm 50. And because of you, I love VR. Thanks for all you do, bro. We appreciate you. Thanks, man. That's super sweet. That's super sweet, man. There's you guys, most of you guys know the story by now. Like, it must have been right before I got a PS3, and then of course after I got a PS3, I would listen to Podcast Beyond, which, you know, Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty and Ryan Clements over on IGN, like early podcast stuff, all audio. It was like the highlight of my week. I think it was like every Tuesday night. I wait for that MP3 to go up and download it and listen to it. And it was like being part of like an exclusive club. You know, PS3 was not popular at launch, and so having these guys who were so committed to it and talking about it every single week, it felt very, very special. And they were always train on my end. They were always the inspiration to get this up and running, you know, without Parole. And I unintentionally kind of created the same thing that they did, right? Like PlayStation VR is it's never really super popular, you know, even in VR standards. And so, you know, hearing people say that they, you know, got into VR because of me, or that they love being here because it's, you know, this small tight-knit community who we all kind of love the same thing. It's cool. It's very cool. Like I can't even express, like, you know, kind of all happened accidentally. But I'm thrilled with it. Awesome Tatum again sent 5 without Parole gift memberships. Man, it's raining memberships in the chat. Hopefully everyone's here today to grab those. Thank you so much for your generosity, Tatum. Mike, the game doggy, with the $20 tip, thank you, says, you said we could get personal. Uh-oh. You know how in 1984, the thought of police figured out that Winston's greatest fear would be to have... Oh, Jesus Christ, hold on a second. There's a lot of words. You know how in 1984, the thought police figured out that Winston's greatest fear would be to have a cage with hungry rats put over his face. What would be that for you and everyone in chat? I don't think I want to tell you. What's my greatest fear? Right? Because not only am I now telling all of you guys, but I'm also telling our future AI overlords. So they'll know. They'll know. Honestly, bro, I got something in the chamber, and I don't think I want to say it because it's too real, right? I had a friend in college, maybe you remember, Mikey, named Ripa, and we always used to drive around in his beat up old car, and all the wires weren't where they were supposed to be, right? And so like he'd have to flip his blinkers on, and like when he turned, he'd have to push the hazard light button again and again and again, because that's what triggered the blinker to blink. Lots of great memories. And he always used to say, don't talk about it. Don't talk about the bad things. Because talking about the bad things is what allows the bad things to come into your life. And so I fucking hate spiders, right? I can go really, really surface level fear and talk about spiders and be like, fuck, man, I hate spiders, especially the ones in arachnophobia that are like, you know, that have the big legs and, you know, like they do this thing where they look like they're ready to pounce at you, face hugger style. And, and like the legs are thick and hairy, right? Jumping spiders and spiders with big hairy legs that are like the size of your hand. Arachnophobia spiders. I don't think I had a fear of spiders before I saw arachnophobia, to be honest with you. I think arachnophobia is what caused my fear of spiders. Like arachnophobia caused arachnophobia in me. So we're going to go with that. Because I got shit in my head, man, that like if I said out loud, I feel like it would happen. And I don't want that to happen. So we're gonna leave the universe out of this one and just talk about spiders. Yeah, but I do wish the best for everybody in the chat. I hope they never have to deal with their biggest fears. And I hope that no one ever has to go through anything that's in my head at this point. Alejandro D. Catalytic Game Cat ran with the $5 tip says it'll be announced on a state of play. God, are we as far back as Requiem? If it's exclusive to PSVR2, I still think they might bring it to Apple. Same controllers. Are we? Is it Alejandro D? Does this tip go as far back as Resident Evil 9 Requiem? Is that what we're talking about? We're gonna assume that that's what we're talking about, and maybe we can finally fucking change this trailer back too, even though Requiem played for a while as well. Actually, hold on a second. Here, I just want to have that good feeling of watching Shuhei reveal Project Morpheus for the first time in like 2014 GDC. Remember this? Oh, this was so beautiful. This was great. So we're gonna just play that for now because it's so nice. I don't see Resident Evil 9 going anywhere else. As far as the VR mode goes. Only because it really hasn't, right? They had the one-off Resident Evil 4 on Quest, but like Resident Evil 7 was exclusive to PSVR 1. Remake was exclusive to PSVR 2. Village was exclusive to PSVR 2. So yeah, so I mean, listen, I just finished this conversation where we're talking about like things coming to everything, and but where else would Village end up? Yeah, I mean, I guess it really depends on the relationship Apple has with Capcom. Yeah, I guess I don't personally see it, but I think you're right. I think if it will probably be exclusive to PSVR 2 in a state of play. Sounds absolutely right. So, when was the last time? Yeah, no, we know Looper. They did have a contract, right? They had a marketing contract, and so do we have details on that? Like, is the marketing contract all part of the same deal? Where the reason that we were getting VR versions of these specific games, of these specific Resident Evil games, was all because of the same marketing deal. So, and I don't know if we have details on that. But who knows? Apple has infinite amount of money, right? So we could absolutely see something crazy happen, and who knows? Blazing Phoenix with the $10 tip. Thanks, bud. Says, always appreciate your content. Would love to see you build a ship in the new update for No Man's Sky. Yeah, listen, so I kind of casually said this to Imzadi earlier. So like, yeah, years ago, I spent a lot of time in No Man's Sky, and did everything I was supposed to do, right, to get off the planet and go trade. And I think I even did a 12-hour live stream, right? And I, so I was buying stuff and trading stuff and upgrading stuff, and I sort of getting into the routine, and but man, it is so easy to forget everything about No Man's Sky when you walk away for a little bit too long. Alejandro says, yeah, it was 40 minutes ago. Yeah, it was. Thanks, man. And so I'm going to be playing a lot of No Man's Sky over the next month or two, and hopefully for a long time to come. I don't see it as something I'm going to jump into and then be like, okay, that was fun, I'm done. See it as something that, like, as we were talking about on Wednesday's show, it's a game that you don't play to beat. You play to experience everything new as it comes out, and you kind of like live for those content drops and those expeditions, and every time Sean Murray tweets an emoji, you're like, I'll be right there. It's gonna be great. So so I'm very curious about the new update, because obviously the only thing I was interested in personally for Wednesday's show was the PSSR update, but there's a lot of stuff that they added on top of that. Awesome Tatum with the $2 tip says, let's play Immortal Legacy and Farpoint again. But you're not going to convince me. You don't have to convince me at all. It irritates me so much that Immortal Legacy. Here here's a review. Here's my Immortal Legacy review. I think this was before I was putting scores on, but easily would have been a 9. It really would have easily been a 9 on PSVR1, right? It was kind of like this truncated version of an Uncharted game. Look at those trees blowing in the wind, right? And this is PSVR1, right? And you got tons of different weapons, and the enemy animations were so good, and there were boss fights, and like the very first boss you encounter just towers over you. Spoilers. And then right, you're going through, and it's like it like goes from this Uncharted game where like Uncharted is 90% Uncharted, and then the last 10% it's like just like Raiders of the Lost Ark. It gets supernatural for the last few minutes. Or even fucking Last Crusade did it. Immortal Legacy is like, it's the complete opposite. The first hour is Uncharted, and then the last 5 hours is a fucking horror game. You're like, what? Right? I mean, just look at this. This is PSVR1. Drives me up the goddamn wall. This is another developer who put everything they had into the game. They even had to... These fucking tangents, dude. They had so much more planned for this game. They had so much more planned for this game. Like, right, you meet this influencer at the beginning, like legit, like a Twitch influencer or something, like this girl in like a cheerleading outfit named Cookie Pie, right? And she's like streaming to her fans the whole time. She's in search of dragons. And they had this whole thing where she becomes like the arms dealer in the game and shit. It's like fucking, and it didn't happen, right? Because they ran out of money, and they had to just like fucking piece everything they had together and get the game out. And they did a great job of it, right? It ended up being very video gamey, right? In terms of story and the way everything was sort of stitched together. You're like, does this make sense? And you're kind of like, who the fuck cares? It's fun. And it's over the top and ridiculous, right? And it's so ridiculous, it's almost Kojima-like, because Kojima, let's be honest, off the deep end for a while now. Still very fun writing, right? It's like, let's not be... I like serious stories, and this game took itself seriously, but simultaneously, like, wasn't afraid to be like, and there's dragons. It's like, it's just fun, right? Just a PSVR enthusiast says it was a Chinese developer, right? I believe so. And like, honestly, like if this game came out today, I think people would rave about it. They did their best to, make money on what they had and release a flat screen version, right? But this game was designed for VR, and so then the second you take it out of VR and you give it a flat screen version, it's like, well, now you're competing with a lot of flat screen games that do this stuff better, but VR hadn't done this better yet, right? There was so much stuff to do in the game. Take your time, collect, climb. It was. Yeah, a lot of documents to read. I mean, like, so it really had like a ton of story in it. And the stuff that made sense was great. The stuff that didn't was like, oh, okay, whatever. Like Tatum said, there's some marble puzzles in there where you're actually holding this box and directing marbles through a maze and stuff. It was just, again, beautiful for PSVR1. This is the first game that always comes up. Hey, this Cookie Pie. This is the first game that always comes up whenever I think of games that were ahead of their time, that should have had a second lease on life. If this studio is done for, I hope that people like Flat to VR or VR Monkey, or the people who like we normally go to for this kind of stuff, are interested in being like, hey, like we know that your studio no longer exists, but if you give us the rights and the source code or whatever you've got, you hand it all over, we'll split the profits with you, right? And you got to wonder if it's enough to, if they launch it on Steam and PSVR2 and Quest, if it's enough to get those people back on their feet and make episode 2 like they really want to, right? Not really episodic, but they did at the end, they teased a sequel. And I think that would be great. That's what you asked, right, Tatum? But hell yeah. Immortal Legacy is awesome. Farpoint, absolutely. Speaking of giant spiders. Wally is now a GameCast, specifically White Tiger with the Canadian $2 tip, says, apart from Arcanage, which game do you know sold well? That's a good question. Not a lot of not a lot of developers are too forthcoming with their sales data. Oh, bro, I completely forgot. Immortal Legacy was $20. $20. They easily could have gotten away with 30, but because of the 5-hour length or something, I forget how long it was. They probably couldn't have gone to 40. But damn, dude, damn. What other games sold well? I mean, listen, there's the obvious stuff, and I know this is not what you're talking about at all, but like Job Simulator and Vacation Sim, these Alchemy Labs games, these games sold really, really well, right? Swordsman sold really, really well. Drunken Bar Fight sold really, really well. These are the games that just like, you just know, right? Because they always show up every single month. Beat Saber on the sales charts. The stuff that I know personally, I can't really talk about, right? Because it was told to me in confidence. But there are games that you'd be really, really happy to learn sold really, really well, and that and the people behind them were really happy with the sales, and now they're continuing on and making other games. And every time they put their game on sale, it sells really well all over again. I don't want to get into specifics because off the top of my head, I don't know which games I can talk about, which games I can't. Even saying this one sold really well, it's almost like non-information, right? Oh, what's up, dude? Pekia in the chat says 2019 Viva Games, Immortal Legacy is a trademark of Beijing. Sway culture development. Yeah. Viva Games were always the people I was in touch with. I don't know if that was the Chinese team specifically. I'm guessing the Beijing Cultural Development Company was the Chinese team. So I don't know if Viva Games was like some intermediary or what the deal was. But I will tell you that I have reached out to Viva Games, who were my contacts, who sent me the review code, the people I talked to, and told me that sales were not good after the fact. I'll tell you that because I think they're shut down. Sales were terrible, and that's why they made the flat screen version, trying to like just stay alive. But yeah, Viva Games stopped responding to me a long time ago. Probably not good. Probably not great. But yeah, listen, I have not. I'll say this. We love talking about how this game sold better on PSVR2 than that game, or than its Quest counterpart, or their PC VR counterpart. I cannot think of a single game that wasn't true for in recent memory. Any developer that's talked to me about sales figures, I will say that every single one of them that's talked to me about sales figures have all said that their game is sold better on PSVR2 than anywhere else. So it's not this like, occasional thing that we hear. It has nothing to do with, oh, this game got so much marketing, that's why it sold better on PSVR2 or whatever. It's all of the games. It's all of the games that I have talked to the developers about, and anyone who's been that forthcoming with me have all said the same thing. It's happening more frequently than it's not. But unfortunately, like actual sales figures, I don't know. And as we saw with Cave Crave just announced like this new. Here, I don't think I have this handy either. Cave Crave trailer. No, what's the newest one? Nope. Oh, here we go. Copy. Link address. Yeah, this new trailer for Nutty Putty Cave opens for VR exploration in Cave Crave. Apparently there was this cave that got shut down in like 2019. I think there maybe it was like a cave in, and so they were like recreating it all in Cave Crave, so you can actually go spelunk through this cave that no longer exists. Here, let's bring that up. In this trailer, I believe that's the reason I'm talking about this, is because I think in this trailer they talk about how well the game sold, or how many copies the game is sold. I think they want to, I think like 30,000 copies or something, right? But like, look at Cave Crave. It's a very simple game. It certainly they didn't dump millions of dollars into this game, and so some of these studios are putting in budgets that they can recoup and then make money off of, and it does seem like 30,000, says Tatum. All right, and thank you. I think this trailer is about to say it, but I don't really know, man. I don't really know. Yeah, okay, so Utah County reopening in VR September 2025, which is very cool. Oh, is this not the trailer where they said it? Psh, all right, we're going to trust Tatum, because I remember seeing 30,000 copies as well. Yeah. Oh, shit. Tip windows are crashing. Here, let's bring that back up. And so, and they seem very proud of it, right? They seem very proud of selling 30,000 copies, and that's not something almost any flat screen game would be proud of. They would not be touting that almost anywhere else. But in VR, right, you get some of these games that are, we knew this was kind of an early access game. We knew they were going to keep adding more content to it over time, and so yeah, it sounds like they probably made their money back, right? They kept their ambitions in check, and it seems like it's going to be a success for them, right? And the more they add, the more people will be interested. This seems like it's working. So it really does depend, Waleed, on lots and lots of factors. If these guys are considering 30,000 selling well, then who the fuck knows? Waleed also says, with a Canadian $2, says PSVR3 in 2030. Works, sorry, it's on my end. Works wired, PS5 and PS6, and wireless PS6. Oh, interesting. So I've had some conversations with people about wireless VR and about how expensive it would be to have something, to have like a PSVR2 headset with all the computing power in the PlayStation 5 itself, have that data streaming that quickly, and what do you have to add to our already expensive headset in order to make that happen? And I think the figures were like it would bring the cost of the headset up $200, like up $200, right? We just got our headset down to like $400, I think, right? We don't need it to go back up to $600. I love the idea, right? Because we want this light is so goddamn bright. Here. As it gets darker, we're gonna get more romantic. We're gonna make this intimate. Also, I'm shiny. I'm shiny. So fucking Italian. I've got a layer of grease on me at all times. Also, when you don't shower, it makes it so much worse. I did not shower today. I apologize. I'll shower tonight. I swear. I think I'm going to the gym tonight. So I'll shower. Yeah, I just listen. I understand that wireless is a big thing for a lot of people. I don't give a fuck. It's not for me personally. I didn't care about the wire when I was on PlayStation VR 1. I don't care about the wire on PSVR 2. And so, but I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm speaking for myself personally. I want that price to be as low as possible to get as many people in as possible. And as eye tracking technology becomes cheaper, and as the whole thing, I do think that by the time PS6 rolls around, we could be looking at like a $250 headset, right? Maybe $200. How crazy would it be for PlayStation 6 to come out and say we're fully PSVR 2 compatible, the entire library of PSVR 2 games from PlayStation 5 backward compatible, right? So it just suddenly becomes this thing you can play on PlayStation 6. Maybe it'll have like some native upscaling or whatever, right? Use AI. Who the fuck knows? And on top of that, the headset's $200, right? We don't need a PlayStation. We don't need a PlayStation VR 3, right? Maybe we get some better lenses in there, right? Something that this looks a little bit cleaner than the Fresnel lenses. You don't have to worry about so much about the sweet spot. But literally having PSVR 2 available at the launch of PlayStation 6 at like $200, it's like, talk about a no-brainer. That's the magical price point, right? It's for so many people, it's a no-brainer. And then to be like, it's also got this entire library of games backwards compatible. You're good to go. I think that's more than being wireless. That's the magic right there. That's what gets as many people into VR as possible. The higher price points that wireless is going to bring, I think it's going to be a problem. So that's where I'm at with that, at least. While it is now GameCast, specifically White Tiger, with Canadian $2 tip, says, greatest fear, losing parents. Cherish them while you can. That's a big one. If I had kids, I think one of my greatest fears would be something happening to my kids. I've had nightmares about tornado, being in terrible situations that I can't save her from. So I can only imagine if you're a parent, like, thinking about you, I can only imagine if you're a parent having nightmares about your kids. It must happen all the time. My parents have always said that as long as they go before I do. That's always what my parents have said. That's the natural order of life. And it's still going to be fucking tough. Right? It's still going to be tough. I've lost countless people in my life. Countless. Right? Very close people. 15, 16, 17. I mean, like, to the point where you lose count. Right? Because sometimes shit happens, and sometimes drugs happen, and sometimes alcohol happens, and sometimes stupidity happens, and you lose people left and right. These are all people who went before their time. So if my parents are right, and they die, in the natural order of things, and they don't outlast me, which for a long time was a concern. I've talked about it on the channel before, but I don't. It's not the kind of thing that just comes up in the middle of GamesCast very frequently. I lived like there's no tomorrow, right? And all my life I always thought that I was gonna be in a famous band and die at 27. Ha ha ha! It's like kind of a joke almost, but but you just kind of live recklessly and do drugs and drink a lot and burn the candle at both ends, and you just don't think that it's gonna matter in the long term, that you're not here long, so you might as well enjoy it. And so for whatever reason, I'm still here. I don't think I was supposed to be. And so I think I feel kind of awful for what I put my parents through, because I just said, if I had kids, I can only imagine how concerned about them I'd always be. And so I can only imagine how concerned my parents always were about me. But I do agree with them. As hard as it's going to be, when that day comes. At least it'll be the way things are meant to happen. This would be so much more emotional without a Cave Crave trailer playing below me. Bro, I need some coffee, right now. Gebhard53566 with the $6.66 says, nice shirt. Hail Satan. Oh, it's Mad Vegan. I knew that. I knew that from your PFP, dude. Yeah. Hail Satan. People, I feel like Hail Satan is something we all used to say, either jokingly or oh, metal fans, right? It's now it's become such a different thing. Thank you for the donation. Wally is now GameCast, specifically White Tiger, with the $2 Canadian $2 says, this solo show's been great. My new best format. Thanks. Thanks. Yeah, Jesus, it's been going almost 2 hours. At the beginning of the show, I was like, what are we going to talk about? And then I looked at my run of show, and as it turns out, we've only made it about halfway through. halfway through what the stuff I wanted to talk about. Real quick, I want to talk about this real quick. We'll bring up the tone of the show a little bit. We can get out of the sadness and talk about happiness, future happiness. Did you guys see this on Twitter? It's from Deficit Games. This is where is it? Here it is. Yeah, there it is. They tweeted this image. They said, due to the current friendly discussion and loving support of PSVR2 players, they said PSVR2 specifically, here's a screenshot from the VR game we are currently working on. Unfortunately, we cannot provide any more context at the moment. It sounds like they're looking for a publisher. They're looking for somebody to help fund this game. These are the developers, Deficit Games, developers of VR Skater. And they did confirm that whatever this is running at 90 frames native. It looks good. It looks good. I wish I could tell you more. But I am under strict confidence to not divulge what I know. But let me just say, I really do hope they get the funding that they need. And also the funny thing is like a lot of this came from a weird back and forth I had with Twitter, where the person who I just don't think could defend himself, kind of shitting on PSVR2, he deleted his response to me, because there were so many responses, from people being like, PSVR2 is totally alive and blah blah blah, and look at all the games that are coming, and it's like, I think eventually he was like, nope, I'm out of here. But Deficit Games actually revealed this in a Twitter thread that I started, and so they've obviously got a lot of love for PSVR2. And I mean, anyone who hasn't played VR Skater is fucking insane, right? It's a hard game. It's a hard game, right? I mean, like, I understand why people don't play it, because VR Skater is hard, and it's not like Legendary Tales where you can just grind and like eventually your character will be strong enough. No, it's like it literally requires you as the player to get better at the game, or you're just gonna be fucked. And like and when I was playing this, the muscles that it would use in my arms were like muscles that like I don't hit at the gym. And let's be fair, I think this was like long before I got back to the gym, so I don't think there were any muscles happening anywhere around here at all. But I mean, if you look at these clips, and like this is, I'm assuming, yeah, this is like, it's when you can get this good at the game, it is so satisfying. It's way more satisfying than like a Tony Hawk game, because Tony Hawk, I mean, yeah, sure, you're pulling off awesome tricks and combos and whatever, but like this requires some physicality to it. And so anyway, these guys seem to know from a game design perspective what they're doing, right? Awesome level design, awesome from a technical standpoint, right? This game runs at 90 frames per second. It's super silky smooth. The soundtrack is amazing. Like they totally captured that Tony Hawk vibe. So and the crazy part is if I remember correctly, Deficit Games began as one person, right? I think VR Skater began as a single person development team, and I think added a couple maybe throughout the course of development. And I think got a lot of funding from Perp in order to get this to PSVR2, which became suddenly the primary platform. Somebody correct me in the chat. I could be wrong on this. I thought this was at least in early access on Quest, and they sort of like derailed the entire thing and said, hey, we're going to focus on the PSVR2 version, right? And like, we'll get back to you, Quest, right? And so for a game that began life on the Quest, and then really succeeded on PSVR2, it's so interesting to see these developers really want to focus on PSVR2 for their next game. Stay tuned. Hopefully we'll have really good news about this soon, and hopefully they can reveal something soon. Anyway, everybody doing okay out there? we got a little bit emotional. So hopefully it didn't get too dark for anybody. Hopefully everyone's doing good. But this has been a 2-hour show, and I just want to say thank you everybody for hanging out, and especially I did not expect all these tips to roll in. Usually when there's not so many tips, it's easier to keep up with the regular live chat and pull in questions from there a little bit more frequently. But you guys are so generous, and I appreciate it. You have no idea how much you're contributing to helping keep the lights on and helping keep me employed here and doing this for you guys. So thank you for that so much. So as we kind of wrap up the second hour here, shout out to everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening. Hopefully you all enjoyed this format, and we should definitely do this again soon. It's been fun for me, therapeutic even. So quick shout out to everyone who supports the channel financially. Whether it be over on patreon.com/withoutparolegames or over here by being a member or tipping during the show. We appreciate you so much. But we're just happy that you're here. Thanks for being part of the chat, hanging out here. And I'm not gonna do 4-minute challenge. I hear my voice going, and I got some stuff that I want to get done tonight. So let's go out on a high note, and we'll be back Monday, traditional format, 4-minute challenge, the whole thing. But don't forget, you guys, we're, again, just happy that you're here. So make sure that you come join us on Discord. Click the link in the description below. Join our Discord server. It's where we hang out 24/7. It's where you can leave viewer takeover questions. Get your question on the show free of charge. And let's make that happen. That's it, you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Here it is, your clip of the week, courtesy of Mad Vegan. Let's go.
Oh, you tricky minxes. Where does it?
Oh, the cat fits perfectly in that hole. Your little cat body.
Oh, did he? I'm like, which one?
You.
I don't see any of the cats in the hole.
Oh, that's great.
Yo, totally forgot that there was a new Walkabout course. All right, that looks adorable. So I may have to drop into some Walkabout tonight. I don't know if anybody's around, but come hang out over on Discord. Maybe we can get a little group of cats together. That can't even be the only course I haven't seen. I think I probably haven't been into the last, my guess is 3 courses. Oh, no, that's not true. The Jurassic one came out, but I never played Jurassic on hard, the dinosaur one, if that's even what it is, Jurassic, whatever. And so I need to play Jurassic on hard. I need to play through Tokyo, and I think there might be one other one. So if anybody wants to play some Walkabout tonight, hit me up, and we'll see you over on Discord. Have a great weekend, everybody. We love you all.